I spoke to one man who says 12 to 13 people were trapped inside this building, but they all made it out okay. And they're even wearing big winter poofy coats like this to conceal what they steal. A poll worker just told me that over 300 people have cast their ballots already today, and they do expect that number to increase. Crime scene tape still remains from Columbus's latest homicide. Now, Police Chief Fred Shelton says this is still a very active investigation. You can even see this building right here. It's just completely bent. That's how impactful the wind was during Saturday's storm. Church members say as soon as you fix your plate, watch it, because with food this good, someone's bound to take it. Hey! It's peaceful right now. It's calm. The birds are chirping. The water, as you can see, is very high. You still have time to join us. We will be here until 1 o'clock, where you can meet all sorts of professionals with valuable information. We are about to surprise a teacher who got so many letters in our email. I've lost count. And we're going to send it back to you in the studio. I'm going to go shop for more shoppers to talk to.
Resting today, but we're thanking God today.
On this Sunday, instead of church, Happy Irby is tending to his home after a tornado roared through the city of Columbus.
Wind and water came through this part here, which would have been, it is our bedroom.
His family was at a birthday party when the sirens rang out.
My stepson spotted the tornado, came running back inside, and by the time he got inside, the lights went out in the bowling alley, and everybody got around in the corner and against the wall. And once it was over, we came home and found this.
Irby's home isn't the only structure that took a hit. On Waterworks Road, the streetlights are dangling so low, cars can barely pass through. Uprooted trees and debris are sprawled across streets and roadways, making it hard for drivers like Key Malone to check on family.
I just pray and God help me.
Malone was grabbing a bite to eat when the sirens blared. She found herself right in the middle of the storm not long after.
I didn't even know it wasn't no tornado, and I was riding through with trees and limbs and stuff. They just were falling, and every street I turned, I couldn't get through because trees were down. Power line were down.
Mangled power lines remain draped across the roadway near Martha Waltman's home.
I looked out my back sliding door and I saw a lot of wind coming and a lot of rain coming. It was raining so hard you couldn't see hardly.
Waltman was hiding in her hallway, hoping the storm would pass, when she discovered part of her living room was in her yard.
My curtains were outside the windows. It had sucked my windows partially out in the front.
This was supposed to be a new business, a new company in Columbus right behind me, but as you can see, not much remains after yesterday's storm. I just got done speaking with a man who says 12 to 13 people were trapped inside that building when the twister moved through. He says they all made it out okay. Right next door, Ralph Pfeiffer is picking up the pieces.
We're extremely fortunate that only about half of our building sustained heavy damage.
This Black History Month, we spoke to some soldiers of color who served their country during a time when it didn't love them back.
I'm gonna make it. The law got me, and the level of hate, I just keep pushing on.
I decided that I'm going to go in and make the best out of it. That's been my attitude in life always.
Both attitudes fit for a soldier. Private John Brown and Command Sergeant Major Johnny Johnson carried these mindsets with them as young men, not realizing their lives would one day depend on it during a difficult time in our nation's history.
I spent 30 years, 9 months, 12 days.
The very day Martin Luther King was murdered was my first day in the Army.
Between 1968 and 1970, both Brown and Johnson served in the Vietnam War.
We had dealt with being shot at daily and riding convoys where you had to, if one of your buddies got shot or somebody got killed in the convoy you was in, you had instruction to make sure you don't stop that convoy, that you kept that convoy moving.
For 8 months, Johnson, the young man in the photo with his fist in the air, rode convoys, carrying supplies on the ground, never knowing when the enemy would strike.
All along the way, we was attacked. And my job was, when I first arrived there, was to man the M16 machine gun. If I saw someone stick their head up, it was my job to make them put it down.
Brown also fought on the ground in the 1st Cavalry, assigned as a combat infantryman.
I walked around in Vietnam with an M16 looking for people to take out. That's what I did. I even walked point. That's the very first man that's out front of everybody else.
What happens next? Some would consider a miracle. Brown was shot August 5th, 1969, 3 times in the chest. A chopper soon came to his rescue.
They got me about halfway up, and the enemy started shooting at the chopper and me, and the chopper took all with me dangling under the chopper for a good little while, and then they pulled me on in.
While the battle was raging in Vietnam, another battle was being fought.
Philadelphia, Mississippi, you have to realize that it was some terrible times in the United States. People protesting against the Vietnam War, Martin Luther King marching and protesting. Boys was killed in Philadelphia, Mississippi because of the fact that people were trying to register down there.
Both soldiers fighting for America's freedom, while freedom fighters were on the front lines, at home.
It was quite shameful. You know, here we are fighting a war for this country, and we being called a and and the whole 9 yards, everything, and spit on, and it was a double standard for us, particularly, being that we was Americans too.
A realization and pain that pierced many.
At night, I would hear him back there saying, "We're going to get you, nigga."
This is a photo of retired Command Sergeant Major Chris Taylor, an M1 tank driver in 1970.
I was the only black kid in headquarters tank section, so I used to say, well, y'all come on. Guarantee you somebody ain't going to make it.
For Taylor, Brown, and Johnson, and so many countless others, determination is something that's skin deep.
In my mind, nothing going to stop me.
No matter the shade.
If you work hard at any job you go in, I'm confident that you'll overcome all the racism, you'll overcome anything that you're dealing with.
Inside 10th Avenue Church of Christ, a little love and a little service go hand in hand.
And I felt like this was a good project that they have going, and I wanted to be a part of it.
With supper.
What we're doing here is that we're just trying to do a better job of connecting with the community, letting people know who we are and trying to serve them.
Notice every member has gloves and an apron.
It takes a lot of people, first of all, a lot of volunteers. There was hours upon hours, and it takes about 3 to 4 weeks to get this organized and get it prepared.
Not to mention welcoming arms.
I've been serving and helping people through the line and getting what they need to eat.
The people in need come in and fill out a guest card, and voila, a plate in a bag. Ready, filled with all the fixings. Church members say as soon as you fix your plate, watch it, because with food this good, someone's bound to take it. Hey!
I would say sample all of it, because all of it's good.
Speaking of dressing, or in this case, dress, a storage unit full of clothes nearby for people who need a little more than a meal.
We got a church jacket for women.
We have heels, flats.
Barbara Shanklin and Michaela Jefferson say they learned a valuable lesson while giving their time.
You never know till you come and do it, and you will think, oh, that person don't need it, that person don't need it.
Because some people don't have families to go to, or they don't have, like, transportation.
It was around 1 this morning when officers were called. Our Riley Livingston is there with more on the extent of the damage. Riley, describe the scene for us. How old do you have to be to participate?
We're doing kindergarten through 3rd grade.
Oh, not 25. All right. Well, and first responders have some safeguards to help deal with the brutally hot temperatures. For years, a woman in Starkville has been putting the needle to the thread, bringing smiles to many faces. Police responded to the shots fired call sometime after midnight.
I went to the beach to enjoy my birthday, and are you digging my tan?
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Great.
just kidding. Totally just kidding.
And temperatures have been soaring, but not everyone is able to avoid the heat. We check in with outdoor workers and how they are beating the hot temperatures.